Oh, this is slow. Ah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, good day, everybody. My earworms in the back. Hello, we've got Amy the cat as our earworm tonight. I hope she hears and talks better than Sid does. I'll just quickly go through. G'day, Rick. G'day, Gav. Tommy. Eva. Who else have we got? Jupp in there. Tommy as well. And all the tree people waiting in the side grounds, in the background. All right. I'll change. I'll just get myself organised here. I'll put the earworms into the background. Oh, come on. Now, if you have a question, just g'day, Rubber Dub. If you have a question, put question in front of it, will you please, or a series of question marks so as we know that it's a question. Right, tonight what we're doing, if you can see, yeah, right, is they're called cabriole legs, but in actual fact, they're not a true cabriole leg because a cabriole leg has wings that come off the top here, that come out, and they also have two curves down the leg. They have a knee and a foot. So, but these are called a club foot or a dog's paw. That's about for them, so that's that. Now you can do them two ways. This one comes off the face where the foot is level with the face down there, or you can come in off the diagonal where you've come in off a corner and the foot lines up off the corner. So different applications. For chair legs, you normally make them a diagonal like that so that they splay out at the front. For tables, round tables and things, you normally do it off the face like that. Now, with all things that are complicated, the marking out is the most essential part. So I'll just change the camera angle a bit and mark it out.
I'm not too sure if you want to hear this or not, Robbo, but it's getting a little bit of little extra bit of lag now.
Bummer. All right. Now, as usual, I use a marking gauge to mark them out with, and you centre each. They're marked out pretty much the same with a little difference for the diagonal one. So, first thing we do is mark the centre lines through here. Do both of them at once. Just mark the centre with a bradawl so you get the true centres. And where for the centre pin of the drive and the tailstock's for to sit into. Now for the diagonal one, you've got to mark diagonals as well. You've got to actually mark it with a centre finder across the ends. Like so, on both ends.
Really bad, honey.
That'll be bloody right. I'm sorry about the background noise. It is extremely windy here at the moment. My workshop door is rattling. Now, the next thing you do, for the one coming off the face, I'll just mark these with a pencil so that you can see them easier, is that you mark halfway down between the centre point and the edge to get your first thing on your foot. So I've got a marking gauge already set up at the halfway mark. So mark a line across here. Then using a brad awl, mark that centre as well. Now, a lot of people think that you only put that one mark in there, and that's not right. What you've got to do is allow for where your square pommel comes down here. So we'll mark that in about 100 millimetres. I'll make it 90. Square this line across here. That's our pommel attaches into the frame of whatever we're doing. Now, if you want to put some detail in the bottom underneath the pommel, like this bead here, you've got to come down underneath there and mark another line where it goes. So about there somewhere, that'll do. Now this centre line that you put in here, you've got to extend up the side here so that you can see where it goes to. Long marking gauge, Robert. So mark it up in here. And would you believe, I put the lines on the wrong side, so I'll transfer them over to here. Now, as I said, a lot of people just mark that line there, and I've got the ends mixed up. I've got the foot mixed up with the head. I'll fix that in a minute. But you don't. You've got to extend a line down through the thing. So I'll fix up the other end first. God, I'm going well today, aren't I? Too early in the morning.
I was about to say, Robbo, it's too early for you.
Now, you've got to mark the centre line of where you want it absolutely round. So you want it absolutely round up here on the bead. So you mark the centre line of that. Just put a pencil line in here so you can see it. Oh, jeez. I'm all fingers and thumbs today. Long gauge.
Hey, Robbo, Steve Robbins said that you should feed that horse.
Yeah. Now, what you do is you mark a line from the centre line that you marked at the top here, at the bottom here, through the centre line of the point where you want it round. So if you want it round up here, you'd mark up here, but we want the bead to be round. Ah, jeez. My fingers aren't long enough. You mark your line through here, and then when it intersects the top of the leg here, you mark down in there. Onto just off the centre here. Mark your centre point there. Excuse me a minute. Have a sip on my cup of tea. So now we've got our offset at this end, which is the top of the leg, and offset at the base of the leg. And when it rotates, which you'll see in a minute, it will rotate exactly centre here. It will keep it centred. Now, if you just move the bottom of the leg here, instead of moving the top at the same time, you're going to this as well up here. And I'll show you when I start turning it. And then you've got to blend it all in with like that. If you do it this way, that section here, it actually rotates around that so that it maintains a round shape the whole way through. Now, the diagonal one is marked out differently. And this time I'll try and get it right. So we'll mark our pommel down. You need a black texture or something down one side of it, one corner of it like this. Denotes your corner so you don't get mixed up. I'm getting mixed up without trying at the moment. So, right, we'll make this the top of the leg.
No, I'm not sure if anyone's seen that because you froze for about 30 seconds, Robbo.
All right, sorry. You've got to put a black line down the edge like this so that you can see it, or a line of some description so you know which corner you're working from the whole time, or you can get mixed up. And as I said, I got mixed up without even trying. So we'll mark our pommel at 90. And I won't put any bead or anything on the top of this one, so I'll just come back another 10 mil so that it rotates around a point there. Mark these lines in.
21 in, Robbo.
Yeah, very good, considering it's early in the morning. Rightio. Now, as I said, we had to mark out the diagonals here. Now, you still use the centre line on the bottom, but you mark it on the diagonal here. So what you've got to do is get your centre mark here, scribe it right through here like this, and where it intersects the diagonal here, you're going to set up your centre point on the foot. Now you carry that line through to the edge. Again. Right. And I'll mark the wrong side. Again. Maybe it's like 2020. I should start again this morning. And because we want it to rotate around this point here, we carry this line here, again through the middle. Pay to mark it, I suppose. As I said, they look similar. They're marked out similarly. but they are completely different. And then we take this line here and bring it down onto the diagonal line down here. Now you can see the difference in marks between the straight side and off the diagonal. The diagonal is marked on the diagonal line out here. This one is marked on the centre line here. So depending on which way you want it to run, denotes which way you mark it out. But it's important you don't try and halve the diagonal out here. You still halve the centre line, carry the line up through the diagonal and mark it on the diagonal here. So do the straight one first. I'll change cameras and everything.
So, Robbo, Ricky's asked after today you're going back to an 8 p.m. show.
I'm not sure. We're trying to find a time at the moment where the lag isn't so bad, and I don't think we're going to have much luck actually. Right, now you put it on the centre.
Steve from Temple Boys leaving.
Yeah, status, Steve. Hope your boy's well.
Robbo, how about trying a weekday instead of a weekend when most people are home?
Yeah, well, I tried to get it so that most people could attend rather than having it during a weekday. It's all right for us retired blokes, but a lot of people have to work, unfortunately. Right, just have a sip on the cup of tea. Now you set it up on true centres first. So you've got your true centres lined up. Put the glasses on. And rough this down. Now this is a straight leg we're doing first. So we'll come up to here. There's our pommel lead. This is where the bead is going to be in here. So I'll just come up to within 1/8 of an inch of the pommel line with a square section. Go down to round. Now this is what I meant by if you just move the centre of it. I'll do it in a minute. Right, we'll just put our little pad on the bottom here. Put our bead in here. Oh, you mongrel. And yes, I do have catches occasionally while I'm trying to work in slow motion. Right. Now I'll just sand that off. Okay. Now I said earlier on, if you just move it on the centre, which a lot of people do, oh, that's a good mark on that one. I'll fix it up in a minute. What happens is this part here is actually off centre as well. And that's what you don't want. Whereas scribing that line right through the thing down through here and moving it across. Where are we? There we are. Now it pays not to use cone centres for this. You've got to use a revolving cup centre, otherwise you'll just break the edge out. It's right on the edge there. And it keeps this section here fairly straight. In fact, it's dead straight right here. Right, I'll just fix up that bead first on the bottom where I mucked it up.
Dr. Bob's just come in.
G'day, Bob. Good, that looks pretty. Just sand that off. And just, now, you don't put a taper on this part here yet. You do that afterwards. If you put a taper on it, you're going to lose your centre point. So you finish that off in a minute. Never finish the whole thing right off to start off with. Oh, come on. Now the rest of it is just pure hack. Now you've got a shadow posting line down there, and that's where you turn it down to. You've just got to be a bit careful down here near the foot that you don't cut into where the bead is. Now you just take it down to the ghosting line, because if you take it under that, you destroy the shape of the leg. And you stop and have a look. what you end up is still with a little bit of a flat spot behind here, up in here, and there, and you just bring that in. It'll end up like a little V down in here. Now I'll tighten this corner up a little bit with a gouge. Still feel it in there, so I'll just carry it up a little bit. Now, as a rule, you don't work uphill, but in a case like this, you've got to work a little uphill. But you just take your time with it and don't force it. Right, beautiful. Now, using favourite weapon again, you skew chisel, flatten that off a bit there, bring it up down a bit. Just to bring it into that corner there. Now you've got to make sure you get a fairly clean cut down on this part of the foot because it's very awkward to sand. You can see what I mean about the little sort of V thing up here. Now, if we hadn't sanded this part first, there's no way that you can sand it afterwards. So take it back out, put it onto true sand. You can see what I mean that if you'd gone too far down here, the bead would have started, the little half bead there would have started looking a little bit funny. So always make sure you're just ahead of where it actually curves around. Right, now we can finish off this foot down here, and it doesn't matter if we go into our centre mark. To do that, I use a beading parting tool so that I can get in there. A skew chisel is a little bit hard to get in there to form the little curve there, just to make it look pretty. And that's it. That's the one that just comes straight off the face, like that. Now the diagonal one is done pretty much the same, except you use the diagonal marks to get it right. Right, any questions so far?
Eva said you're making it look easy.
Oh, well, been doing it a few years. I have to admit that I haven't done any of these for a number of years now. And I do do the two samples yesterday, and I mucked them too, so I had to do another one.
So Mike's commented that he's seen people make them with a bandsaw and spoke shows, but didn't know you could turn them. No,
well, that's what I was saying, that a true cabriole leg actually has a knee. It's two shapes. Well, and I'll actually draw it out. Now, a true cabriole leg, actually the pommel here is only this big, right? And then you have a knee that comes out here, and then it curves back around. It actually has two curves. That is a true cabriole. It can only be done on a bandsaw and with spoke shaves. There's a lot of handwork in it. These aren't a true cabriole leg. They call them a cabriole leg because it looks similar to a cabriole leg, but it's not. It's actually a club foot or a dog's paw or a pad foot. So you cannot get a cabriole leg, a true cabriole leg on a do it on a lathe. There are auto machines now that do it, but they've got carriages that move in and out and all sorts of weird and wonderful things on. And they're normally not round. They're squound, if you like the old square meat pies. Remember them, squound, where they're flat on the edges but rounded over corners. Yeah, why don't I'll just go off a bit. Oh, come on, you mongrel up. There's a comment there that I saw that. No, can't find it. Somebody put in about the 1700s, but my
Dr. Bob
computer's
said
got
70
slow
years
here.
ago you would have been pinched for giving away the long-held trade secrets.
Yeah, well, that's right. Now,
Eva said.
Go on.
Eva said that I think the guys in the 1700s, back in the 1700s, would have liked these kind of legs on furnitures. Whoever thought it up.
Yeah, well, they became very popular in Queen Anne furniture. That's where it actually came from.
Cool.
So, I'm just having a slurp on my cup of tea. Right, now the diagonal one is a curly one because it only moves the centers really out of whack. So, rightio. Take it down to round. Now, because I'm putting decoration on top of this one, like a bead or a cove or anything like that, we just come down into here. Cut our pommel in. Get it down to round. Get this corner in nicely. Put our on here.
Neil's in.
G'day, Neil. Right, sand that up.
So Steve Combs just commented that 30 years ago he had a maple dining room table that had the cabriole legs with the knee.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a true cabriole leg, as I said, with knees and all of that sort of thing on them. Okay.
So no deliberate catch on that one, Robbo?
No deliberate catch on that one, no. Now, get our diagonal marking, put it into line. Make sure the leg rotates without hitting anything. Now you can see here what I mean about those, if you use cone centres. The step centres actually are very good for this, but I still use the old Woodfast ones. If you use the cone centre, as you can see, it would break that corner right out of there and you never hold the leg. So on all spindle work, I always use a revolving cup centre because it doesn't drive itself in. It doesn't wedge the timber apart. So, okay. Turn the lathe down because you never know what it's going to do, particularly if you had a light lathe. It won't actually move this one. When it starts rotating, always tighten your tailstock up a bit more. As you can see, there's a lot more waste to take out of this one than there was on the square one. You can see the shadow line running down through. You can see that it's rotating fairly straight right about here, and that's exactly what you want. As Alan Batty says, if you don't slow the lathe down, sometimes you might need a bit of dental work afterwards, because they've been known to flick out because you're not holding on to by. Have to move my cup of tea, it's getting full of shavings. Right. Again, make sure that you do not go over that little cove part, the little bead part there. Something's wrong here. Can't quite work it out. Just hold on a minute. I've mucked it up somewhere. This part here should be rotating dead centre. It should be rotating around it. So why isn't? What have I done? That looks right. All right, just talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I have a look. Back into there. That should be right. Don't know what's happened here. Something strange has happened. Like I said, it's a long time since I've done these, so.
Are you on the right diagonal, Robbo?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I should be. Maybe I'm not. Can't go on down there. Maybe I should be on that one. Yeah, I'm on the wrong diagonal. That's what the problem is. All right. A little guesstimate here. Let's just try that. Ooh, no, that's worse. Yeah. Excuse me, I'm just going to go into a corner and sulk for a minute or two.
That's right. You've only got a minute though, Robbo. Not any longer than that. Self-indulgent.
Okay. I'll try this one.
Make sure you take your mic off if you're going to go to the toilet.
That's better. Right.
So the two diagonals should be across
Yeah.
directly opposite each other, Robbo. Was that?
Yeah, they should
Yeah.
be.
It didn't
What I
quite look
did
right
was
when I was
mark it
looking
out
at it.
on there. Yeah. All right. That looks a bit better. It should be perfectly round, just here, and it's close enough for the purpose of the exercise. Right. Sometimes knowing what you're doing is the ability to know that you've done something. Ah, that looks much better. It's got a little bit of a flutter here, but it's not bad. Right. Again, just take it down to the shadow line or the ghosting line. Now with the diagonals, of course, you've got more material to remove than what you have with a face one. But you've got to be careful you still don't go over it. Right, just tighten this up a bit down in here. In fact, the last time I turned one of these was at the Gold Coast wood turners, and I got up to about this stage here with all of them doing it. It was a hands-on thing, and I had a violent Meniere's attack and collapsed, and they came without me. And I must admit, they all did a very, very, very good job too.
You've managed to click on Eva's comment there, Robbo. You got it across the bottom of the screen.
Sorry about that. Get out of the way. That's how slow the connection is at the moment. I actually like doing the diagonal ones. In my opinion, they look a lot better than the face-on ones. But like I say, coming down here, you've got more material to remove to get it back in there. Just switch it off and have a look. Right, I've got to come out about another 1/8 of an inch out here. 3 millimeters for the metric people. Right. Now we'll blend this down here. On the ghost line. Now you can see what would happen if you just move the centre, particularly on this one here, because it would look bad up here, so it just looked totally out of place. Right, just get the skew chisel, run down there. Still feel a little bit of a lump on the back. Voila. What I do like about the diagonal ones is that when they're finished, they leave a nice little pointy bit up in here. All right, same again, just put it back on the true centers again. And finish the foot off. Now you can see that if you finish the foot off here, you can actually see the part of the centre that was poking out there. If you tried to finish that off while it was still in between centres, you wouldn't have anything to grip on. It's what you've got to be very careful of when you're doing off-centre work, is that you always maintain your mounting points. Right, there will be no live next Sunday because I've got students in next weekend and I don't think they'd like to appear on the live, so I might have to schedule it for during the week sometime. But if anybody has any ideas of what they'd like to see, I'd appreciate it. Rightio, there we are. 2 what they call cabriole legs.
Just like that.
One. There's the other one. Yeah, warts and all, mistakes as well. Geez, that didn't take long, did it?
No, that's right. I've still got time to get to church now.
Missing a bit.
Yeah. Thank you, Eva. I do have nice legs, I think, anyway. Although they're looking old these days. Well, you can put the bead on this one as well. If you I just wanted to show 2 separate ways of doing it. That was all. And it actually works a lot better on longer beads. No, I didn't put the top bead on the diagonal one, Neil. Just to show the difference in the longer one, in longer legs and thinner legs, you got to be very careful that you don't actually snap them, because when they get down to the bottom here, particularly on the diagonal ones, when I get to the bottom here near the foot, they're getting very, very thin.
No, you happy?
Yeah, it must have been another comment about Tommy's workshop.
Tommy said it'd take him a week
somewhere.
to do that.
Oh.
And Steve Jobbins commented to that also about 60 foot of timber.
I must admit, we had a production run of them probably about 25 years ago. And don't worry, I mucked up a few before I finally got it right. Because in those days, of course, there wasn't YouTube or anything around. They had to find somewhere reading about it in a book. And I couldn't find a book to find it anywhere, so I had to work it out for myself, basically. Good day to all those that come in since I started. You come in at the end of it. Yeah, that'd be very handy, Eva, if you've learnt to turn first. Makes a big difference. No, you can't turn a Queen Anne cabriole leg, Neil. They're cut on a bandsaw.
Now, Dr. Bob said the big key to turning them is the tool rest.
Oh, definitely makes a difference when you've got a longer tool rest and you don't have to keep moving along all the time. You can get the curves to flow properly. Whereas with a short rest, as Jay knows, whoops, Jay's gone. As Jay knows, it's very awkward with a short tool rest.
I'm still here, but there's no point having the camera on if it's all on you, is there?
Ah, right. All right. Well, what I'll do is I'll bring you both in again now.
Oh, look out. I've got Amy coming over my shoulder.
When it finally decides to move, there we go. There, Jay, you're on camera now. Sorry, Eva, I don't know what the tool rest is way too long. Oh
Justin,
yeah, Amy likes the limelight. She's a diva.
A bit of a diva.
Yeah, Jupp, Jupp says I just find turning the same thing over and over does my head in. But funnily enough, you get used to it after a while. Like, I solve a lot of problems just when I'm standing there letting my hands do the work. My brain doesn't even enter into it.
There's so many things I could have said there that I've just left alone.
Yeah, well, that's true. G'day, Bailey. How are you?
G'day, Bailey. Well, I'm glad I brushed my hair seeing as I'm on camera. Did you do yours, Jay?
Yeah. He ran a wire brush over his.
Cut and polish.
got a comb over, but it's not working.
And how's Blake like his new lathe, you happy?
Hey, Blair.
Blair's in.
G'day, Blair.
That lathe that Blake was using, it looked like Yuppie's old one.
looks the same as the
Sorry,
lathe I
what's that?
started on, which was an old GMC.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I've seen some good work done on some of those.
I tell you
Good
what, Yappy,
starter
if you
lathe in some ways.
work out what threads on that spindle, and it depends what sort of chuck you've got. I might have an adapter that'll let him fit a chuck on there. It wouldn't cost me too much to post it over.
Lewis has just come in.
Good day, Lewis. Just chat time now. I've finished doing what I was doing, so
My coffee cup must have a hole in it, Joe, I reckon.
No, I've got someone that refills it for me.
Ah, I'll put mine up there.
Can I put in a plug, Robbo?
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Jarp. When you're busy turning, you're not thinking of anything else. It's actually why I think it's a good hobby or a good therapy for anybody that's got a few mental issues, whether it's PTSD or whatever. Channel that Jay put up, I'll let Jay explain what it's about.
Well, I started a like page on Facebook to try and get any Australian makers to come in and do lives from one spot. So that if anyone out there wants to do any lives, they're more than welcome to come over, and I'll make you an admin, and then you can do lives on there whenever you want. I've set the page up so no one can post on there unless you're an admin. So lives will be easier to find than having to scroll through hundreds of posts or whatever. So if anyone would like to go over and like it, I'm more than welcome to.
Yeah, I agree. Eva, that any work you use your hands are kind of therapeutic. Okay,
Yeah.
Yappy, what's the big news? You're not pregnant. You're not pregnant, are you?
Very thoughtful, Lewis, that's the thing. Full of contemplating life. We're nearly at the end of 2020, and then that'll mean 2021.
Yeah, and hopefully it's better than bloody 2020.
Is that better, Lewis?
I'll get the cat back in a minute.
Well, that's not news, Yappy. That's swearing at me.
Now, swearing at you, telling you to turn to 10 next week, Robbo, or next live.
Jeez. Well, I can't see hell freezing over in that time, and pigs definitely don't fly.
Collingwood might win a premiership, though.
I don't know. Pigs seem to fly over my house a lot.
Yeah, but you got the police helicopter base just around the corner.
Can we just do 2020 again, but without the virus? What do you reckon?
No, I found a long time ago that you can't relive your life. Oh, that's a bummer, Justin. I hate it when that happens.
Oh.
When's the next trip, Robbo, and where to? Yeah, well, at the moment, don't tell Sid or Jay, but it may be to South Australia.
He's actually already on his way, Jay. He's going to turn up at your front door in about half an hour.
No, I did that trick once when mobile phones. when mobile phones first came in, I rang up a mate. I said, "Oh, have you done such and such yet?" And he said, Yeah, it's all finished. I said, "Oh, good, I'll come round and pick it up shortly." And I walked in the door. How'd you do that? I was one of the first ones to. What? Around the corner to my bed? Geez, what, this time of the morning? Oh, sorry. I thought it was Neil responding. Yeah, actually, I'm inclined to agree with you to a certain extent, Yarpy, that I didn't think it was too bad in the sense that this should have made people sit and rethink their lives and that no one is immortal. I think there's been a lot of good things come out of it. Like, I was yakking to our garbage man the other day, surprisingly enough, last Friday, and he said that it's astounding that the amount of garbage that's been put out in the garbage bin has probably been decreased by about 70% because people are cooking at home and not having takeaway crap and all that sort of thing. So less rubbish. And it's taught some people that they have to cook rather than get takeaway food all the time. Yeah, good night, Mike.
You're cutting our business out, Robbo.
Sorry?
Cutting our business out, a fish and chip shop.
Oh, yeah. No, it's effectively, well, Tooradin is the take capital of Australia. I'm convinced of it. There's something like 6 fish and chip shops, 2 or 3 hamburger places, pizza place, nice ice cream parlour. Yep. I don't know about that. A fantastic bakery, which Neil knows all about. And they have suffered. The bakery really hasn't suffered much, but a lot of the other takeaways have.
Mike's going.
See you, Mike.
Yeah, I said good night to him.
Yeah, through the peak of it, Robbo, our shop dropped right off. Like we had probably 4 months with almost nothing. But once it opened up a bit and the sun started shining, it sort of made up for it with a vengeance a bit.
Yeah, well, as Di says, Neil, we have, not being rude to you, said we're one of the best fish and chips in Australia.
We haven't tried ours yet, Robbo, so you can't be rude.
No, that's right. But probably I'm a little bit biased because my mother and father-in-law used to own it.
Fair
and
call.
I actually used to work in it occasionally as well.
Yeah, Justin, you're right. Like everything that happens in your life should be part of what builds you to where you are now and part of your learning curve.
Yep, dead right.
If I didn't do
As
some
I say,
videos, I wouldn't know Robbo or Sid.
Are you counting them as good things or bad things, Joe? But you're right. If you only look forward, you don't look back, you're fine.
That's right. No, sometimes it pays to look back and
Only if you're going
make
to
sure
learn
that
from
you
it.
don't make that same. Yeah, well, that's right. But
Yeah.
no, I've never made a mistake. Never. I've made some hell of errors of judgment, but never made a mistake.
I'm in Kingston, southeast, Neil, down on the probably, what would we be, up the coast about, be 200 k's from the Victorian border, Robbo. That'd be about right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, about that. Come in through Narracourt and through there. Down south of Adelaide, Neil.
Almost halfway between
On the
Adelaide and
eastern
Mount
side
Gambier.
of the Gulf. Yep. Well, there should be some good fish and chip shops there, Tommy. Geez, that's where it originated from.
So, Neil, I'm where Larry the lobster is, the big lobster.
Is that his name? Is it Larry?
Yeah, that's what we call him. We call him Larry. Well, that's all right, Neil. Personal taste is fine. Funnily enough, because I cook a lot of fish and chips through the summertime, I don't eat a lot of it anymore.
Yeah, it's funny about that, isn't it?
I still like a bit of good grilled fish and salad, but don't do the battered fish and chips much anymore.
Yeah, I prefer grilled fish. My favourite is actually blue green.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a bit of blue grenadier.
All right, anybody got any ideas for what they would like to see from the next live? Because I'm running out of ideas.
Yeah, I want to see loads and loads of shavings. Can you do that same leg, but 40 feet long?
No, a bit hard.
There's your loads and loads of shavings. There you go. Look at that. Jay, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, these are some I prepared earlier.
I'm still waiting for other stuff that I've asked for, like a couple of weeks ago and months ago. So you said
What?
ask and receive.
I didn't hear that. Sorry, what?
Sid said, ask and you shall receive. And I said, I've asked for stuff a couple of weeks ago and a couple of months ago, and I'm still waiting.
Well, some people are impatient, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. No, Lewis, I don't do any resin work. I've got a friend that's in the chat that does a lot of resin work, and when he comes down here, he covers my place in crap and then just walks out and leaves it.
I've looked at some.
Covers all the beds in glitter and bloody CA glue.
That's like asking Robbo if he turns pens, Lewis.
Maybe an off-centre or crooked stem goblet or something like that, Robbo.
Oh, yeah, I could do that, I suppose.
Or an off-centre bowl.
Yeah, that's... Now, Gav, you got it dead right. That's my response as well.
Blair wants a big platter.
God, what is it with captive rings these days? Is this the new coloured pencils one, is it? I knew Neil would have to bite. I must admit, when Neil's down there, he cleans the place up pretty good, actually.
I almost thought he'd left the chat because I was pretty sure that's who you were talking about.
Yeah. No. But he has bloody ribbons of resin hanging off every surface in the place, including himself. He looks like a snowman. What, turning captive rings? The biggest swing on the lathe. The biggest swing on one lathe is 8 feet, 2.4 meters. They all vary. This one is. G'day, Alfred. How are you? Welcome along. Of the demo, unfortunately, but we're just sitting there chatting, telling lies and crap to each other. So, Henry, the long one, can only turn 450 mil above the bed. The big Wadkin, Regiment, it can turn 3 feet above the bed. This is diameters, not radiuses. But if I wind the bed back, it can do 7 feet. Most of the others are standard 6 or 12-inch diameters, the smaller lathes. Ah, so you finally blooded the wood fast into what it's going to be used for, have you, Neil? Yeah, same here, Neil. I'm going to miss you too around Christmas. Just to come to think of it, I'm going to miss a lot of bloody people. But that's the way it goes, unfortunately. I'd rather see them next year when they're alive than find out they've ended up with COVID or something. No, that's not going to happen unless I actually get a job in for that. So, I don't. What was that about, Jay? About Blair?
Oh, nothing. I went off screen like this, and all everyone could see was because I had the hiccups. I was trying to get rid of them.
Oh. No. Now, this is not meant as anything much, but it's it costs me money to do the lives because they're not normal jobs that I do all the time, and I buy all the blanks and everything to do them. I don't have any monetary things on any of my channels at all because I can't stand ads myself, and I don't want other people to have to put up with them. So they're all non-monetized. Oh, shut up, Jay. I'll give you something to cry
I'm going to have to
about.
love you and leave you, Robbo. The dog's looking to go out. I want to take him out for a run.
Okay, no worries, Sid. Thank you.
Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time.
See you later, Sid.
Yes, I still turn for a living, Lewis, but I'm semi-retired these days, and I do what I want for whom I want, if I want, when I want, for how much I want, basically. So that's my criteria for working these days. Besides which, I've got to keep my hand in. I don't think old tradies ever retire. They just slow down a bit, that's all, and keep working. These days, I tend to spend more time teaching other people how to turn, and that actually gives me more pleasure than actually working on stuff. Jesus, just started piddling down with rain here. God, what a
Neil's
day we've
leaving.
got. Yeah, all right, Neil, thanks for coming in.
So you got some nice rain then. You can keep that, thanks. We had that yesterday.
Yeah, I mainly do field work, Lewis. Yeah, even teaching Jay. And Jay is actually a good example. I love it when I can look back 5 or 6 months ago and see how they were and how they've come along now. Good night, Yarpy.
And then Amber in the background going 6 months down the track, and obviously she'll be still using this, trying to get the skew.
I know. Look, it takes about probably 30 to 40 hours to get the skew successfully, and you've still got to maintain practice doing it.
All right, Eva's going now.
Oh, yeah, good night, Eva. Well, he listens most of the time, Lewis. I have to give him that. The problem is, yeah.
To be honest, Japper, you're pushing your luck.
What was that about? I missed that.
Jay, give my Amber a kiss for me. You want me to say that to your wife, Jappy, or what? Come on, mate.
Yeah, I watched quite a few of your videos, Lewis, and I like the work you do, actually.
See you later, Lewis.
All right, see you later, Lewis. I admire the work, a lot of work that a lot of people do. It's just not something that I'm interested in doing. We'll soon fix that up next week, Justin. You'll hate me by Sunday night.
Does he have to spend 4 hours trying to get the grind back properly?
Man, it is pouring down out there.
Sounds like a chain banging. I know shed doors, but it sounds like a chain banging up.
Well, it actually is. It's we've got a big sliding door out there, and it's got a couple of chains on it that retain it, and also look it in certain positions where I want it open. And what's happening is the door's rattling, and the chains are rattling against the door. All right, well, I might call it a day, and thank you all for coming in. I hope it was educational, even with the mistakes. So it just goes to show you that if you don't practice doing the same thing, it's easy to make mistakes along the way. So take it easy, everybody, and I'll catch you on the next one around. Bye.